is remaining, that is monostable multivibrator. We have completed the astable multivibrator or an oscillator. So monostable means it will have one stable state and other state will be quasi stable or unstable, okay, or temporarily stable. So this is my circuit of my monostable multivibrator. Now if you see carefully in this circuit, if I remove this, let me just, I don't know whether I can annotate or no in this. Is there an option over here? No, I don't think so. There is a annotation effect over here or no. Okay, anyways, not a problem. So just concentrate. If let's suppose if the diode D1 is not there, okay, and this D2, R3, R4 and C2 is also not there. So what will be the circuit will be? What will circuit look like? I am repeating again. If my diode D1 is not there in the circuit and diode D2, R4 and C2 is also not there, so what will be the circuit looking like?
A stable
A stable
multivibrator.
multivibrator.
Yes, correct. So basically, it will look like a astable multivibrator only, but we have added the diode D1, D2, and the resistor R4 and capacitor C2, and we are applying a trigger pulse. Okay, and this circuit is the modification of astable multivibrator only. So if you all have understood astable multivibrator, this also will be very simple. Now we are solving one numerical now, but let us understand it. So we are applying a negative going pulse. What do you mean by this arrow? That at this arrow, at this instant, your triggering will happen. Okay, it's a negative edge triggered. I know. I hope that you know what is a edge triggered and a level triggered. Okay, level triggered will be either it will trigger at plus VSAT. I mean, sorry, the plus level or the minus level. That is over here. It will this level. I'm talking about the flat line, but this will be edge triggered, negative edge triggered. Okay, so have you studied differentiator circuit before? Differentiator in your lab, you have done an experiment on differentiator
Yes, sir.
virtual lab.
Yes, sir.
So differentiator, if you apply a square wave pulse or a rectangular pulse, what will be the output? It will be a
Triangular.
negative going spike and a positive going spike, correct?
Okay, sorry, sir.
Correct. Now, I mean, you all have done the experiment on differentiator. Just have a look for a square wave. I think so. For a square wave or a rectangular wave, you get a positive going pulse and a negative going pulse. That is a spike, positive spike and a negative spike. I guess you all have completed that in your lab number 2, LICD, if you can recollect. Anyways, that practical differentiator circuit, we will cover that a little later after we complete certain topics. We'll come back to it. We have just studied the ideal differentiator and ideal differentiator and integrator. Practical differentiator and integrator will be studying using op-amp. But what I'm saying is, this RC element, this is a passive differentiator. Okay, this is a passive differentiator circuit. Okay, so whenever you apply a pulse like this, I'll expand it a little. So whenever you apply a pulse, negative going pulse like this, the output of the differentiator will be like this. So C2 and R4 forms a differentiator. Just to remember that point. Okay. So basically you apply a negative trigger pulse, you get a negative spike. This is of 10 millivolt, 10 milliseconds duration. This spike will be of 1 millisecond duration. And at the final output, you will get a pulse, of a certain period. Now we have given all the numerical values over here. Now what we are doing is we need to find out. I mean, y'all can take the print screen or y'all can note down this diagram. We will be solving now this, and at the end, after 5 minutes, we will be seeing it how its circuit works. So that will be our only objective today. Okay. So now let me start with the calculations now. So we need to calculate the following for the given circuit. Okay, so first of all, the output pulse time period, that means this output pulse time period. Then there is something called as capacitor recovery time, and then there is something called as total time between the trigger pulses. Okay, so don't worry about the formula. I mean, don't worry at all about the formula. We will come back to all this. Fine. So the output pulse period is given by basically your beta will be R1 upon R1 plus R2 into VSAT. We have seen that before. So sorry, not into VSAT. Actually, beta will be R1 upon R1 plus R2. That's it. So the beta value R1 and R2 are same. That is 30K, 30K. So that will be half. Now the time period. This we will derive it. Don't worry about it. Don't bother. We will derive it soon. So T, the pulse, the output pulse width is given by R3 into C1, natural log of numerator we have 1 plus Vd1 upon Vsat, denominator we have 1 minus beta. If we substitute all the values, Vd1 is around let's say 0.7 volts, Vsat is around 12 volts, and beta is 0.5. So if you work out in a calculator, you will get a value 112.47 milliseconds. Okay, R3 and C1 is given. You can see over here, R3 and C1. So this is R3, 150 kilo ohms, and C1 is 1 microfarad. So those are the values which are substituted over here. Okay, so with this we got the value of T as 112.4763 milliseconds. Now again the capacitor recovery time is given by this formula, R3 into C1. Again, don't bother with the formula, we will derive it. Actually, this is derivation is not expected directly. The formula I think will be important. So here it will be R3 into C1 natural log of 1 plus beta divided by denominator will be 1 minus Vd1 upon Vcc. So after you substitute all the values, that is R3, C1 and these values, you will get the recovery time, the capacitor recovery time as around 70 milliseconds. Okay. Now the total time period between the trigger pulses will be capital T plus T recovery. That will be 112.47 milliseconds plus 70 milliseconds. That will be 182.47 milliseconds. Okay, so this is the value of the total time between the trigger pulses. You will understand all this, just wait. So the differentiator, now I already told you we have a different passive differentiator consisting of C2 and R4 over here. Okay, C2 and R4. So how do we select these values of C2 and R4? So we'll go down and check it out. So the input pulse is taken as 10 millivolts peak. So this pulse over here is 10 millivolts and its amplitude is 0 to -5. So this is a negative going pulse. Therefore, the negative spike duration will be around 1 millisecond. Okay, 10%. That means we want this spike duration should be very, very less. And if we want that, the pulse trigger, it's around 1 millisecond, right? So it has to be around 5 times RC. Now, what is RC? The RC time constant over here. This RC, C2 into R4. So if we assume the value of C2 as around 0.5 microfarad, then 1 millisecond will be equal to 5 times C2 R4. So R4 you can recalculate, it will be coming out to be 2 kilo ohms. Okay, that's how you select the value of C2 and R4, considering that if the input pulse is around 10 milliseconds, we want this negative spike duration to be 1 millisecond. So we assume 5 times RC. Okay, anyone knows why 5 times RC?
So 5 times RC is the value for which the signal reaches its steady state.
Correct, correct. So whenever the signal reaches the steady state value after 5 tau, means here it is 5 RC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So that's how we select the value of C2 and R4. You just have to keep a little faith. You will understand everything. Just be a little patient. Now, with all these values, now let us check the simulation now very carefully. So again, I'll keep the circuit over here, and I have to decrease the font a little. Oh no, not this much. Maybe around 18. Yeah, and now I will open up the LT-Spice simulation. So it's already made ready. I'll close the waveforms. Okay, and here it was, I think, 2 kilo ohms. Yeah. So already the circuit is set up for your reference. This is your monostable multivibrator circuit. Okay. I don't know why this is coming. Yeah. So if you see carefully, we have, oh, okay. This is our LTC6244, a faster op-amp. Actually, the slower op-amp will be a little bit difficult for it to work. Here we have C1 and D1. C1 is 1 microfarad, R3 is 150 kilo ohm, R2 and R1 are 30 kilo ohms, and your value of diode D2 is 1N4148. This is R4 is around 2 kilo ohms, C2 is 0.1 microfarad, and we have this trigger pulse over here. Now, if I simulate this, okay, here I will simulate this, and I'll first plot the trigger pulse. Okay, so this orange color or red color is my trigger pulse. If you can see clearly, going from 0 to -5 with a time period of 10 milliseconds. So how 10 milliseconds? This is around 30, and this is around 20, around 20. So 30 minus 20, that is 10 milliseconds. Are you understanding, everyone? Okay, now if I want to plot this E voltage here, the negative spike, I want to show you all. So this negative spike value will be, let me show it to you. Can you see this negative spike value? Can you, I mean, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
negative spike value is of, because it is a differentiator, you know, this 1 millisecond which I have written over here, just check. It is going till 1 millisecond. See, this is 20, and at 21 it is settling down. So this spike is of 1 millisecond. Are you following? So this is at this point. Okay, so this is actually your differentiator is coming into place. Your differentiator is working now. Okay, why this 20? Why we require this negative going pulse? We will clarify this point later. But right now we have a trigger pulse. Now I will plot the voltage across the capacitor. So voltage across the capacitor is, I think, let us go back to the circuit. It's V of V. Okay. So I'll plot voltage across the capacitor, VB. Okay, so this is my voltage across the capacitor. Do not worry, it will be clear. And lastly, I will plot the output. So this is my output. I have to change the color of my, let's say, trigger pulse to maybe green, so that we can clearly everything is visible. Okay, so I have my trigger pulse coming over here, and as soon as my trigger pulse is coming, my initially output state was plus 12, that is at plus VSAT, and as soon as my trigger pulse has come, my output switches to minus 12 volts. Okay, now here we are actually calculating the output pulse period. Okay, so we are not interested in the working and all. So we want to see how much is that low state over here. Okay, so what do we do is we calculate this value now. Calculate this value. Theoretically, it was coming out to be 112. Now let's see how much it is coming over here. Okay, so for calculating the pulse width, what I will do, I'll take the help of a cursor over here and place it over here first, and then the second cursor I will take from here and place it over here. Let me check if they are properly placed. Yeah, so how much is the time period? Can you see this? Actually it's minus, don't consider it to be minus, because the second pulse, let me just show you, the second should be over here and the first cursor should be over here, then it will come positive. So can you read out this 109 point something, right? This 109.21 is my pulse width. This, and we got theoretically as 112 millisecond. So here how much we are getting? 109 milliseconds. So that's very close actually. Let me come up with the observation table. So over here my pulse width is 112. It should come as 112, but it's coming 109.2 something. Okay. Now let's check the recovery time. Now capacitor recovery time is this, from year to year, wherever it's charging over your VB is your capacitor voltage basically. So my first cursor will be over here. Let me place it like this, and my second cursor will be over here when it's settling down. So close to around Let me expand it and see. Okay, so here it is. I'm checking this. This is the recovery time or capacitor charging time, we can say that. Okay, so somewhere close to over here when it reaches the peak. So how much is this time? 67.35. This is the time, the recovery time, and we got it 70 theoretically, but in simulated value and simulation we got it around 67.35. Are you all noticing it down?
Yes, sir.
The time period is 60. I'm just showing you all how we got this all the things. Okay, now the what is the next one? Total. So what is this? The total is the total time between the trigger pulses. So the distance between the two trigger pulses is my total time. So from here to here. Okay, so let me take the cursor and again mark it and show it to you. Then we'll start with the explanation of monostable multivibrator. Okay, I think second pulse will go over here like this, and the second will come over here. Okay, how much is this time? 189.2 milliseconds. So actually it should be 182.47 milliseconds, but we are getting around 189.2 milliseconds. Okay, so that's how we have, that's the difference between the two trigger pulses. Okay, the timing difference between the two trigger pulses. So that is what is coming around 189.3 milliseconds, and theoretically we got it as 182.47 milliseconds. And the trigger pulse width is actually 10 milliseconds. We have already seen that. That is a green color. Green color is my trigger input. Fine. So anything you want to ask in this? I mean, there should not be many doubts over here because I have not started with the working.